Hello, world. My name is Jabias Jones, and I'm a resident of Waco, Texas. I have been here since January of 1998. I am locally well known as Miss JB, a single mother, grandmother, and local minority business owner for over 20 years in McLennan County. I have been fighting to get my grandchildren back that were kidnapped by CPS, Child Protective Services here. My grandson TZION, my granddaughter TNIYAH, and my grandson TONDRE. I still have custody of their younger brother Josiah. He is now 3 years old. We are a decent family. This is us at my daughter's graduation. Takaya, she's 20. Corey is 16. And their mother is 28 years old, who has a terrible meth addiction. First of all, I want to state that I am not on probation or parole. I am not receiving any government assistance currently or nor during the time that I had the children. I solely care for them off my own funds. I have completely emptied my retirement funds, taking care of my grandchildren, and making sure that they're okay. This is not a call for money. This is a call for voices. I need to bring attention to the scam that has happened here. Me nor any of my blood relatives have not seen these children since December the 23rd of 2019. I recently saw them at church that I visited. And now they don't even want me to visit them at the church. I'm still free to go, but they keep the children away from us. They have brainwashed these children into believing that nobody cares for them and that nobody is fighting for them. And I have been fighting for them ever since they left my home due to the injury that I had to my wrist. I'm a beautician and a cook, and I was in unbearable pain to where I could barely drive. I could not hold the baby properly, and I couldn't even hardly bathe myself properly, taking care of my own personal needs because of this unbearable pain that I had to my wrist and fear that I had carpal tunnel. I reached out to Child Protective Services, whom I had the children successfully for all this time and never had a problem with Child Protective Services. I reached out for support for the approval of Child Protective Services for the paternal grandparents to help me during my medical leave. The children were not removed from my home. They were removed from the paternal grandparents and not returned to me. I have spent all the money that I can spend, and now I just need awareness and voices. I need to bring attention to this matter so that it can be properly executed in the manner that it deserved. Those children do not deserve to not be with a blood relative who has already physically and financially proved that they can be cared for by a blood relative. This story goes so much farther. I hired an attorney and didn't find out until trial by this attorney that this attorney was currently represented by the opposing attorney as his divorce lawyer. Neither one of these attorneys reported this conflict of interest to the courts. Not only that, the children attorney, a court appointed by the courts, I had previously reported him to State Bar for not letting us have any type of visitation with the children, supervised or unsupervised, from December of 2019, January 2019, and in February 2019, 2020, I was told to grab an attorney, and this is during my medical leave. It's kind of made it hard for me, but I was able to obtain an attorney in June of 2020. I had reported that attorney to State Bar, and he was able to stay on, encouraging the grandchildren be placed in another home. I'm not racist, but it is a white home. And they have not been able to see us to then and been brainwashed to believe that no blood relative loves them. I need to bring awareness to this because these children does not deserve this. Their brother that I have, Josiah, who's now 3 years old, I've had him ever since he was 2 days old. Now he's 3 years old and don't know his siblings at all. Child Protective Services wanted me to drop Josiah off to the office with no blood relative guardianship for visits. And I did refuse because I was in fear that they would kidnap Josiah too. Even now we have a state registered family therapist and they won't even allow her to see the children. They won't allow her to take Josiah for visits for me. Someone that I trust, that I know that would bring Josiah safely back home because he is my child. I need awareness to this. I need voices. I don't need any money. I need awareness brought to this situation so that this judge can know what scam was pulled off in her courtroom, because I'm pretty sure she is not aware of all the conflict of interest that went in here. The lawyer that I hired did not submit any of my evidence. He did not call any of my witnesses. He only encouraged me to be quiet until spoken to. And then afterwards, send me emails to tell me to just don't say anything, don't make any noise, so I would have a chance to see my grandchildren with the family that now Child Protective Services, with the attorney for the children, the court-appointed children, are encouraging to adopt. These people are youth ministers. And I thought that we could have a relationship with them and see my grandchildren that way. And then hopefully they will understand and see the scam that was pulled off by Child Protective Services and help me. In return, they turned around and had their attorney send me a letter saying that they did not want me to contact them by person, phone call, or text. And which is funny because we met at church and the caregiver gave me his number for contact so we could reach out. But as soon as I saw my grandchildren not dressed appropriately, their hair was not done, I offered services to do their hair for free at their convenience, that I could travel to them or travel back. They could come to the salon, and or I asked for sizes of clothes and shoes for all of them because my granddaughter had on a dress that was too big and shoes that was too big. They were unmatched, uncoordinated, and they did not have proper hair care. I offered those services, and in return, I received an email from their attorney to not reach out to them again, and for the contact to only be between our attorneys. I was totally screwed over in this situation by the conflict of interest. The attorney I hired did not even try to fight for me. I have purchased trial transcripts for 2 days for $2,900. I have purchased everything I pretty much can purchase. I have all the evidence and proof. I kept a very good track record of everything that transpired. In March of 2020, I myself wasn't feeling well. So I had to retreat. And by the time that I returned back to work, COVID had quarantined the city, the states. I had no choice but to sit back. But in court, they made it seem like that we abandoned the children, when really I was just trying to protect myself and Josiah from the pandemic during the early part of 2020. But I do have proof that I never gave up. I had a meeting with Child Protective Services in February of 2020 when I found out that one of the children was removed from his paternal grandmother's house and not returned to me. The other paternal grandmother was my backup on the CPS paperwork. So she had her 2 grandchildren and was supposed to only keep them until my excuse was up in March 24th of 2020. She lost her job because Child Protective Services did not want her to let anybody keep the children but herself. We have been tossed around. I have called every agency, reported everywhere that I could, and all I get is the runaround. They'll keep telling me to call this office, call the Office of Inspector General, call the DEA's office, call anybody. And it's like it's been a big circle. Every complaint that I have made after speaking to the director of the Child Protective Services and the regional director, I have been informed that those complaints go right back to the director, She writes whatever she wants to write on it, and it goes back to her regional director. And this was told by her. Once I spoke with her and asked her about the evidence that I had sent her to show the scam. I am reaching out for worldwide help with this situation because it is definitely a scam. I have recently found out a lot more evidence of what's going on, who CPS is actually partnering up with. And you guys will be amazed to believe what I have discovered. I can be reached by email, jbias254@gmail.com. I'm not hard to find. I'm now in fear of my life because of the stuff that I need to expose. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this live video. Once these lawyers, even possibly the youth ministers at this church, and including this church that I have been in several times undercover, and now they well know who I am and what my purpose is, because I am a deep believer in faith and I want to tell the truth. I don't want to have to hide anything. So I have reached out to the elders of the church who's only told me to email them. I will not expose that church today because I do have a private investigation going on. Eventually, this church with its cult-like manners will be exposed. They have worldwide broadcasts that they are partnering up with Child Protective Services. They will be building a facility to house children from Child Protective Services there, in which they also said that this office will serve as CPS's second office. See, I didn't stand a chance in court, knowing that these attorneys are affiliated with this church, because I recently saw the attorney I hired at this church, and he tried to shield himself with the child. I'm needing awareness of what's going on here. I can't say that this is another Branch Davidian situation like David Koresh, but it might be somewhat close because they are partnering up with CPS to get these children. I also witnessed that this church cleared out a huge debt in an amazing amount of time. We talk about 7 figures that they cleared out in 2 years. And it's still growing. Still asking for donations. And part of that is probably CPS funded because they have a lot of these children in this church. I hope this message reach out the world in peace. I do need help. I have reached out to the mayor's office, the governor's office. No response to a lot of agencies that I have reached out to. And time is just ticking. The only thing that's going to happen is that these people will get to adopt my grandchildren, and it'll make it harder and harder for me to see them and or reverse this scam that has been pulled off in the courts. And there ain't no telling how many times that this has been done. I know a lot of people say that Child Protective Services is crooked. They look out for each other. They lie for each other. I do have proof that they do. I don't know why it happens and occurs, but I am not a parent that these children were taken from. My daughter has a terrible meth addiction that we have tried to help her with numerous times, and she keeps going back to the streets. So the only thing I can do is take care of her children and provide for them and help them out and pray that she gets the best. Like right now, she needs to turn herself in. She has a warrant. And so she won't come around family because she knows that we will not tolerate that behavior. But that doesn't mean that Child Protectors has to teach our family a lesson by separating a decent family from their children, these kids. They don't deserve this. And that's the person that is affecting the most outside of me, who has not slept well. I have not progressed in life well since knowing that I was not able to see my grandchildren. It's like, how did I become a threat to them after caring for them by myself for 2 years? We had no problem with Child Protective Services until I produced a doctor's excuse that I may have had carpal tunnel. I was suffering. And really, I had a bad pinched nerve from repeated repetition. I got myself together before my doctor's excuse was over, and I went for my grandchildren, but I was already denied even a visitation to see them prior to. I'm hoping that this reached the right person because I won't give up on them. I will not give up on them. They are going to know that they are loved. They are cared for and they are greatly missed. And I will not stop until justice is served. I won't. So the family that has them, I tell them all the time, you have my family, and they don't deserve to be without us. They don't. And I won't stop until justice is served, even if it takes my life. So this is a well awareness video that if I somehow come up dead or missing, it's because I exposed Child Protective Services, the attorneys here, the entire legal system almost that I reported to, and nobody did anything about. My grandchildren deserve to be raised together. They deserve to grow up together. Never in my life did I ever think that they wouldn't be together. So I hope y'all hear this message and hear it well. Again, I can be reached for further detail. This will not be the only video that I do. I plan on doing them repeatedly until I get some awareness of what is going on here. Thank you for your time. Kindly, you all have a blessed day. And I pray that nobody in America that is going through this, that no grandmother should have to go through this. No grandchildren should have to go through this. Not the pain that I'm experiencing. I will not give up, even if it kills me. I love my grandchildren and my family too much. And it's not enough of us to just let this go. I can't let it go. Thank you for your time. Have a blessed day.